Hey everyone, this is Vritvi Sawant and welcome to my channel. Well, today's video is about my author journey and the whole process of book writing. But before we move ahead, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because there's a lot of great content pieces coming your way. Let's talk it out. Ambition. What is ambition for you? For you, it can be very different. For me, it can be completely different. Well, I come from a place of believing in myself and achieving everything that I put my heart and soul to. I always wanted to become an author, an entrepreneur, a public speaker. But do you think this journey so far was very easy? No, not really. But let's save the hard part for some other video. For now, let me take you through my author journey. So I had started writing around March 2020 when the whole world was hit by a lockdown. And what else would one do when you have all the time in the world to do nothing but to focus on yourself? So I had started writing a story about a CEO again, who is lost in the woods and is found and addressed by a number of saints from a nearby village. And the crux of the story also was still that how devilish or villainous a CEO can be, yet lose everything. But then that's it. I couldn't move ahead even a bit in that story. I wrote the first chapter and then I completely lost track of what I wanted to write ahead. So I took a little break and I started writing about various emotions of mankind elaborately. And I thought that once this is ready, I can utilize this content and put all these emotions into that story. But sadly, I couldn't find even a single coinciding point where I can do this. और उस वक्त नॉवेल लिखने का ऐसा कोई इरादा था नहीं एंड व्हाट आई न्यू वाज ऑल अबाउट द सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स और सारे सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स ऐसे ही होते हैं बिकॉज आई हैव ग्रोन अप reading all the self-help books and observing extremely genius and highly learned people around me. That is exactly where I experienced a writer's block. Meanwhile, last year I happened to start my podcast called Vritvi Talks, and I used 50% of that content on emotions into my podcast episodes, but in the form of stories, in the form of examples, to make it more relatable.
Stories. There's nothing in the world more powerful than a good story. Nothing can stop it.
So now what? The plot of my book is still empty.
Oh no!
So one day I just happened to sit and chat with my dad over some random stuff, and I was like, you know what, Dad? There's either black or either white. There's no gray. And that is where my dad made me understand that no, there is also a gray, and you must respect that. Not that this gray comes from a place of being confused or not being able to decide on something, but it's the balance that I'm trying to address here. And that conversation kind of shifted the entire narrative of my story.
Eureka! Eureka!
So I went back to my room and kept thinking about this all night. Since I have been fascinated about these stories of angels and demons since my childhood, and these larger than life villain characters and the actual characteristics that they possessed, I scrapped all of my old content and started rewriting a completely new story right from scratch. So while writing a fiction literature book, one must be very clear about two things. A, what exactly are you writing about? And B, what would your audience love to read and how? And then decide on the plot accordingly. Well, I decided on my plot based on a loosely based outline to start with. And then I first made the character sketch of my main character, Rivan. However, I was very clear about the backdrop being that of a corporate world and its pros and cons and how an individual transforms throughout those years. And that kind of made me very clear कि मेरा main character और उसी के दो रिफ्लेक्शंस, द डेविल एंड द एंजल, का पोर्ट्रेयल भी कैसा होना चाहिए. And then the other characters were sketched in a way that they add a certain kind of value or at least impact Rivan's life in some way or the other. Each character was designed with certain typical characteristics over as and when they meet Rivan according to the timeline of the story, and also that how their own character transforms over the course of time. Well, Rivan's character is strongly inspired by our very own mythological character, the greatest villain of all time, Ravan. Ravan was a genius in his own sense and is said to have a history of having a far knowledge over subjects like astrology, mathematics, music, medicine, and many other such subjects. कहा जाता है कि रावण को 10 दिशाओं का नॉलेज था, इसीलिए उन्हें दशानन भी कहते थे. Personality so charismatic that even Hanuman was awestruck when he first saw Ravan. Hence, I named my main character, my protagonist, who is also my antagonist, as Rivan Dashanan. He is charismatic, he is smart, he is super intelligent and highly ambitious. And not to forget that he is also very villainous, as well as very much under the influence of the devil. Now, how I designed the second lead characters and the supporting ones, from deciding on the title of my book to the cover design, from scheduling the pre-launch events to the post-launch activities, everything in the next video. So stay tuned because there's lots more coming up. Like करो, subscribe करो and जितना हो सके इस वीडियो को share करो. And like I always say, happy living people, take care. And yeah, don't forget to believe in yourself. Ciao!